Welcome back to the family. It's your girl Naomi Mbogi. Kama kawaida, this is the Solid Fluid Podcast. Tumekuja na mazuri and I'm here with my girl.
Yes, Santana here.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here again and again and again.
I'm so happy. You know, this is creating, it's making us spend more time together and it's fun for me. I don't know if it's fun for you.
It's really fun for me. I actually enjoy
me.
nikitoka like mashughuli zangu and I'm like I have to go shoot.
Yes, I'm going to shoot. I know, it feels good.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, umekuaje, wiki imekuaje, job. It's a Friday, so and we are here shooting.
Yeah. As usual, job to employment. Working, very tiring,
just busy.
But let's say I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
So
you have to.
Yes, I actually do.
To.
I actually do enjoy. So I don't usually take it like a burden. Until I fika home, I'm like, finally I have an off day. No. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, but then you don't even like being off. I'm sorry. You don't like being off. Cause like unakuanga zile za hata uko na an opportunity to take an off. Most of the times you're always like, let me just go to work. You know, I noticed even when you're sick and you're supposed to take a sick leave, actually this girl, she's always like, I have to go to work. Let me just go to work since I don't. And I'm like, okay. I need to love work like you do. I mean, I love what I do too. But yani yako, okay.
It's actually wrong to prioritize work from your health. That was something I would never recommend because I did it and I was like, it really. That day I didn't even work actually. I remember when you were telling me to go home, meaning I went to work regardless. I didn't think the meds were that strong, so I didn't even work actually.
You didn't work?
I actually slept the whole time.
Yeah,
the supervisor was like, then I just would take my sick off. But anyway, kazi ni kazi.
Lakini it's good to also love to do something.
Yeah.
You know, to be a part of something. Yeah. That's amazing. My week has also been good.
Yeah.
So I've had some personal issues going on, but otherwise, it's been good. Yeah. I went back to the salon.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, I feel like it has also been a good week. Yeah.
And how do you feel right now?
I feel good. And by the way, this week I met some fans. Yes, I'm going to give them a shout out. There is a Shiro Ruth Wanjiro. Shout out baby girl. She's a great fan. She just met me and she was like, oh hi, give me a shout out. She's also my friend. She was like, yeah, I've been watching the podcast. Thank you guys, by the way, we are doing this for you. So when you like
that's a really nice.
Yeah, when we meet with you out there, and then you're like appreciating our work, what we are doing, and the content we are creating for you. It makes us know that, you know what, I'm not doing this for nothing.
Or you're not doing this for yourself, you're doing this for others.
Exactly.
Serving.
And it gives me motivation to like shoot another episode after another episode. So there's Ruth and there's one I met at Flame. And this guy was just like, hi, how are you? I've been seeing your content. I think that makes me feel good, by the way.
That's
honestly,
amazing.
like it makes me feel good when you meet with someone and they're like, hi, how are you? I've been watching your content.
That's amazing.
Keep doing what you're doing.
That's
so thank you. Shout out to you guys. I didn't get the guy's name, but shout out to you when you see this video. You know yourself. We love you so much. Keep supporting us, guys. Share this link, and let's get right into it. So today we're going to be talking about job interviews, our experiences, and the pros and cons and
what
advice.
To do before you go for an interview.
Yeah, exactly.
What not to do.
So I feel like you should start this topic because I feel like you've been to more interviews than I have been, and I feel like you would give people better. Okay, when you're getting, by the way, tuna grow, you realize you're going to be in more interviews than we expect. Trust me, as you keep growing, unatoka shule unaanza kutafuta kazi nini. Guy. So please tell us. First of all, your first job interview experience.
Before I even talk about my first job interview, let's just say this life right now, there's so much even if it's not like getting like a job, people are out here interviewing you. Like for example, you sit down with your friends or with new people, they're asking you like, what is your favorite color, what do you like eating? That's like a
By the way, that's
form
an
of interview.
Yeah.
Like someone is interviewing until you,
But it's
like
different.
interrogating.
Wacha tusidanganyane, it's different when you're actually going for a job. I don't lie to people. Unajua ukiulizwa na mtu, what do you eat, what's your favorite color? Probably you're talking to someone who likes you or someone who wants to be a part of your life. We're talking about a job, baby girl. It's totally different. Trust me.
Like work.
I'll tell you about my experience, but here continue. But it's totally different.
So I'll start, and then you will also tell me about your first job interview. So my very first job, actually my very first job interview was when I was coming from after high school. I came to your place for a whole month.
Oh yeah,
when you're living in, you know,
Embakasi.
Yes, in Embakasi. And so you remember when I was leaving your place, before I went home, I went to my auntie's place.
Yes.
You remember I went all the way to Kiserian.
Yeah.
So she was a manager at that time in a restaurant there, and my plan was just to go say hi. I stay maybe for like a 2-3 days because it was like a resort.
Okay.
It was a swimming pool, everything. It's just a big resort. So I was like 3 days. I can go swimming. I just eat. She brings me this. She takes me out. I was like, okay. And in the resort, she was actually staying inside there because she was a manager. She was given a place. So me, I'm going there for fun. I'm not going there to do any interview. So I think the following day, after I arrived there at around 8 p.m. at night, the following day in the evening, she was like, "But they take this mini and go serve a couple that was seated somewhere." And I was like, "How do I do this?" She was like, "You just serve. Just be confident in yourself and just go serve them, and they should give you money afterwards. Like take care of them, like the way you welcome someone." It was like actually it was a resort, like a hotel. So you welcome them, you serve them, and they give you money. You wish them a good day, and then. So I actually did it so well, and I was like, wow, I can actually do it. And immediately she asked me, "Do you want a job?"
Your aunt now asked.
Yes, she asked me, "Do you want a job?" And I was like, I'm not even going home to do anything. So yes.
Why not?
Why not?
I know. When you get an opportunity, take it if you can.
And actually, I had gone to visit her with only 2 outfits because I knew I'm going to stay there today, tomorrow, the other day I'm going back. So I was like, I have 3 outfits, but I don't care. It's okay. She'll give me, because she's my auntie, so she'll have to give me clothes and take me shopping. I was like, yes, I can do it. She called the owner of the resort. She was like, but they have gotten someone, she can work, Nini. That's how I got my first job. Let's just say people start saying connection.
That was your connection. That was a connection.
My first job was like a connection.
I want you to tell me about the first.
That was an interview.
Yes, that was an interview, but I want you tell me about an interview that you actually went, sat down with your papers, your CV, and and you were asked, and not by your auntie.
And not
like in an actual office where you don't know anybody.
Let's say I passed that interview by default. Connections. Passing an interview by default, you already know.
Let's say you're lucky. You're a lucky girl then.
Yeah, let's just say I was lucky at that time. But one that I did not get any connections, no nothing. I just went and did it. I've actually done a couple of them. So many of them, but some have failed, some have passed. So I'll talk about the one that I failed. So I go for an interview.
No, mine was a fail. So I want you to give us the one that you passed and what actually you tell people what to do on an interview. Because mine was a fail. I think mine was just a funny one.
Okay, so this is now on my current job. I've done so many interviews, but let me just talk about my present one because I feel this is the most official one I've ever gone for. And I had actually, that time I didn't have a job. So my friend told me, I just started to ask my friend like random, do you umesikia kazi mahali or something, like kuongea tu na watu. And he was like, okay, yes. See, this is not like a guarantee, but right now so many people are on leave, like maternity leave and leave itself, so you can apply, you just go.
So in short, there were vacancies.
There were, it was like a semi-vacancy.
Semi-vacancy, okay.
Yeah, they haven't advertised, but someone is telling you like they might be. Just go drop your CV, don't have so high hopes, but go drop your CV, like it doesn't hurt. So me, in the morning I went, dropped my CV, and at the receptionist there was like, I hakuna vacancy, and I was like, okay, but because I had so high hopes, like when I was going there I was like so prepared.
Yeah.
So when I got there, she was like, no, hakuna vacancies. So I was like, it's okay. And then at that time we were wearing masks. So like, I dropped my mask and she was like, okay, sawa. So in case we get an opportunity, I'll just keep your CV here. I'll just call you. And the minute like you go to apply for a job and you
kept aside, you can wait.
You're told next, like, we'll call you. That word, will call you. It's crazy. So I was like, I even lost hope. And then 2 months down the line, I received a call. And that time actually, I was coming from your place. Was I coming from your place or my sister's place in Kino?
Yeah,
at
your
that time.
sisters, because you called
Yeah.
me later.
Yeah. So I was coming from Kino in the evening around 4ish, 5. So I was getting to town. I met with an old friend, not an old, like a primary school friend, an older friend.
First I need to do the interview part.
So I was called for the interview. I was told tomorrow in the morning. So I was told, call right now, tomorrow in the morning you should come with your papers, your KCPE, KCSE, Mimi, and I had nothing because Mimi knew them to my mom keeps everything for me. So I had to call all the way from Kirinyaga. Fast forward, the way you're saying, I have so many stories. Fast forward, I go for the interview. I arrive. First of all, of course, I do a lot of research. Before you go for an interview, you have to research about the company that you're going to do an interview for. You cannot go out of context. You're like, what are your passions? You're like, I love swimming. And you're going for an interview to work as a computer person. Like, what do you mean? Okay, that can be part
That
of
is advice number 1. Do your research on
Yeah.
the job that you're going for an interview for. You the job that you're expecting to get, do your research first.
You have to.
Yes.
So I did my research. When was the company started, by who, from where, all the basics that I need to know, what the company stands for, the values that they do, so that when you're asked in an interview, like, what values do you uphold in your life, you don't start guessing any random ones. You do in line with what they stand for, like as an organization. So I did my research as should. I went for the interview. Of course the thing about an interview is go with the mentality of the worst they can do is say no.
Yeah.
It's just that it doesn't get any call. They cannot beat you with stones, they cannot cast you on the cross, they cannot nothing. They'll just tell you no, or they'll tell you we'll call you, or something like that. So I go for the interview, my name, Nini, I sit, I'm there with the HR. She was actually so friendly because she was alianzanga kwanza engage, so she made me feel comfortable in the interview. That's why I did not feel like I was panicking in that interview. And there were, how many were there in the interview? I was being interviewed by I think 2 people or 1.
Did you maintain eye contact while they were interviewing you?
You have to, especially with the HR.
And you didn't feel like
Intimidated?
Not intimidated, as in
or like the imposter syndrome where you feel like you don't deserve this job?
Not really. How do I call it? Okay, I'll get that one. As in you
just explain it.
Kuogopa,
the fear that comes with.
Yes, like you're there doing the interview, but
one thing with me is before I go for an interview, I always pray. That's what works for me. That's what works for me.
Okay.
Before I go for an interview, I always pray to God for confidence. That's many people, we all have our own ways in how we conquer our own fears. Mine is usually when I have fear or doubt or everything, I just lean on my beliefs, like my God and everything.
Okay.
That's what I lean on. And so I go for the interview. She was friendly. I start the interview. She asked me about the values. I said, like, why do you want to work with this organization? Like, why do you want to work with this specific company? And I was I can't remember my exact words in the whole interview because it's been a while, but I remember saying, like, this is the brand I want to work for because it is the brand.
Because
it's the brand,
know about
like
the company,
the quality they
know
sell.
about what they're selling, you know so you know why you want to work with them. Exactly.
I did not want to just work with a place that I did not believe in. So when I went for the interview, I was like, this place is known for quality and I want to be part of the big brand, part of the big name, because you people are have already set the standards high. Your reputation is already up there.
Yeah.
And so many things I talked about in the whole interview, but I did my research and I realized even if I don't get the job, when I was doing my research, I was like, wow, in the end I would like to be part of this brand.
Yeah.
Some way or another, maybe buying from them or something, but I would love to be part
It's
of
a
them.
great, yeah.
So the interview goes on. I remember she asked me a question, my weaknesses. That caught me so off guard. I was like, I did not expect someone to ask me my weaknesses.
Yeah.
So
There are questions you're asked and you're just like,
you're not prepared for.
I am not prepared for that.
Actually, she was
That
so
was-
nice. Let me just say, God bless that HR, wherever she is. And I was like, what is your weakness? I was like, I'm very emotional. I cry a lot when I'm feeling low. That's my weakness.
Yeah, I know, like you're telling her that.
Yeah, like
And I'm sure at
it's
that
just
moment
so
she was
off
like,
guard.
those are normal things.
And you know,
sometimes."
yeah, but that's what she wants. She
Yeah.
wants your truth, your truthfulness, you know, because some questions they'll ask you, it's just
Yeah,
it's
be
about
real,
the
be
business.
yourself. Yeah.
Mostly
that's
they'll
true.
ask you questions about the business, like about work related issues, like your principles, your everything. But they get to a point they want to get a bit personal, to know just a bit more about you apart from the job,
Yeah.
you know, market, like your papers and everything. So my weakness, I was like, I'm very emotional. And I remember that time I started panicking because I wasn't prepared for that question. Then I was like, I'm short-sighted. And she was like, oh my God. Actually, at first, before I said I'm emotional, I first told her, my weaknesses, I was like, I'm short-sighted.
I'm short-sighted.
I took it as a weakness. And then she was like, no, like when I'm talking about your weaknesses, I mean about yourself. She told me like her, she's very stern. Like if she says you do, you have to do. Like anakuambia about herself, then she was like, she's very, impatient. She's not patient, like she's very impatient. She wants it done now. That's her.
me.
So she told me like, that's her. So how about me? So I started getting the concept, and the way she opened up to me also made me like open up and tell her I'm very emotional. So when I was saying, I was like,
You know, I'm
short-sighted.
listening to you right now and I'm like, by the way, job interviews are totally different depending on where you're also looking for the job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because when I'm listening to you, I'm like, mine was totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it will also depend on who is doing the interview
Yeah.
with you.
Mm.
And if they are good people, they'll notice like you're feeling maybe a bit anxious or something. They'll
Yeah,
try
I was
and-
anxious. That was the word I was looking for.
Oh.
When doing the interview, I was very, very anxious.
Yeah, you were not
Yeah.
like, you didn't have the confidence that you're supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like
But
she
that-
was
Mhm.
very. The interview was, I can't complain, because after the interview was done, after like we talked about maybe the job, everything, my papers, my everything we talked about. And of course, the question they will always ask you like, have you ever worked somewhere before, or your previous job, your like immediate job, like what happened, like how comes, you know. So you have to be prepared of such questions, you know. And after the interview, like immediately she was like, when are you ready to work? I was like, even now.
I can
Even
say-
now. Send me, I'll go.
Yes, that is how committed I am.
She was like, good. She was like, good. I was like, ah.
Wow, and that's how you got the job.
And she was like, right now, this is the number of the manager. Go to this place.
So tell people at least 3 advices that you would give them, besides the ones that you just say. Do your research, you know, and be confident in yourself and be true to yourself while you do the interview. What other advice do you feel like you would give someone who is like about to go for an interview tomorrow and they're watching this video and they're like,
I'll actually say that one is a very nice question, actually. I just thought, and I was like, before you go for that interview, actually even right now, when you're preparing to go for an interview or not, try and learn yourself what works for you when you're feeling afraid sometimes, because apart from going for interviews, there are other things that make you feel like you deserve the good things that are coming your way or that are going to come your way. Find what works for you. Like for me, I have just given an example that for me, praying and reading my Bible and confiding in the Bible and thinking about like the messages that God has given me, that's what calms me down and that's what works for me to relax.
okay.
So find what, if like your spirituality works for you, then do it. If you have maybe a friend or your family or something that makes you feel, you know, like calms you down, call them. You understand? Find what works for you, because the interview, you'll just realize that you know everything about the interview, most likely because you've already done your research, everything, you've practiced, you've really wanted this job for a long time. You know everything about it, but find what works for you, because the minute you become, you're not confident, the minute you have that fear in you, the minute that you start getting anxious and everything, it makes you forget. It makes you forget everything that you know of.
Just
like they can ask you what's your
true.
name, and you forget. You literally
That is
forget
so
your
true,
name.
by the
So
way.
that is the most important advice I'll give you. So find what works for you. Whatever
Okay.
makes you calm down. Yeah. It's good to
Wow,
know.
that is good advice. That's great advice. But okay, for me, the advice I'll give them, I guess I'll give
Tell
them
me,
my
just-
first interview
Sorry, just brief for
experience
me, like
later.
like the
I guess I'll tell you later. But from what I experienced on my first interview, as I said, I failed the interview, and some of the reasons were like, first of all, it was an abrupt interview. Like I just went, they had told me to just take my CV. So when I took my CV, they just gave me like 10 minutes, 20 minutes actually, to prepare myself for a short interview. And this was about like teaching. I wanted to be a teacher of beauty, hair. You get, but now theory, you have to be interviewed on the theory part. So when I went there, when they told me to do the interview like in that short notice, that was, first of all, one thing, if you go for somewhere, maybe they had asked for a CV and they tell you to do an interview on that day, you should at least request them to give you more time.
Yeah.
You know, I should have requested for more time,
Yeah.
because they gave me 20 minutes to prepare, and that was not enough. You can, if you've gone for a job interview, you know very well,
Plus
20
it's
minutes can't be
theory.
enough to prepare, and it's theory, it's teaching, you get.
And it's been a while
Yeah,
since
so what they did, they called another teacher to come and teach them. My friend, I was shaking. Do you know shaking? I couldn't believe it. I was so like, I'm talking, yes, I'm standing straight and all that posture, cool, nini, but my leg is just like, you know,
Yeah.
my leg is just
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
I was like, you're trying to control
That's
it,
understandable, because you aren't
you
prepared.
get, because I was not prepared. Yeah, so I feel like if you go for an interview and they tell you to do an interview on that day, and you don't have time to prepare, just ask for more time.
Yeah,
It's
if they
allowed,
really need
and
you,
yeah, they will give you that time,
they'll add
because
you
they
that
will
time,
want you to
yeah.
present something great and
Yeah.
something good. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2. What was I going to say?
Take your time. Take your
Oh
time.
my goodness.
Interviews can be really hectic. Let's just say that.
Yes.
Like a CV
yeah, and
prepared.
yeah, and when you go to do the interview, just make sure you find your words.
Yeah.
You know, find your words. And what can help you find your words? Let's say you have an interview tomorrow. Like if on that day, what I did now, when they asked me to go back, because they asked me to go back now prepared, like they gave me a whole day to prepare and go, like after a day. So what I did, like before you go for the interview, it's, by the way, it's good to like do a prop interview. Like call someone, sit them down, assume they're your interviewer. Okay, and then like I call you, because I did it with my fiancé. I was just like, he was there, I was here, I was just like,
Oh yeah.
you know, you're my interviewer, I am now doing the interview with you, I am
Yeah.
presenting to you.
Yeah.
You get, so that also helps you to
Practice.
practice and see what you haven't, maybe the research,
Missed out.
because huyo mtu, that person is going to ask you questions
Yeah.
about what you're presenting.
Yeah.
So when they ask you questions, maybe you'll get a point or two that you haven't yet included in your notes
Wow.
of presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
a very nice,
that's
valid point.
yeah, that's something I also like felt like before you go for an interview, it's good for you
Yeah.
to do that. Yeah. Yeah, on top of those other things that she said. So if you
Yeah.
have questions about interviews or something
And there's
like
actually
that,
so much about interviews. Like
yeah, there's so much.
can
We
talk
just
every-
said so little.
Yeah.
There's so much to it. Yeah, you can ask questions up or comment down below, you know, and then we can get to interact on the comment section
Yes.
more on interviews, your
Yes.
first experiences. Because mine, man, aki nilitoka kwa hiyo interview room, I was just laughing on the street because I couldn't believe that was me.
Yeah.
You know, ile ya, you just sit down and think about it,
Like, was that me?
and you're like, you're just laughing.
But
I was just laughing zile za, I can't
But
believe
like
that
one
was me.
thing, one thing we all have to realize, ourselves inclusive, is that failure sometimes is part of life.
Yeah, don't feel like that because you failed. It's no. By the way, me, I
Part
took
of
it
life.
positively because I felt like that was a great experience.
And it's
for
actually
me.
a stepping
Now,
stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like now if I go for another interview, I will be very much better. You see, that was
And
my first
actually-
interview ever, by the way.
And it's
So,
interesting how this interview that I passed for the current job that I'm in, I had actually gone for a couple of 3 more interviews before, and I was failing. That's another experience that's another story for another time. But I was failing constantly from the other interviews. So this time, I wasn't as fearful as I was before, because one thing I realized is that that fear of failure had already partly left me.
yeah.
I had nothing to
Because
lose at
and
that
then
point.
again, because when you do something over and over again,
Yes.
you get a bit experienced and you get a bit ni kama kuzoea, so you get there's some confidence that comes with that. You know, doing something over. So the more you
Over
do
and
more
over
interviews and fail, you
Yes.
get to know what you did wrong, learn from
Exactly,
that.
exactly.
So the next interview you
So
go
don't
for,
be afraid
you're gonna
of
be
failing.
better. Yeah, you're failing. That's where you're going to keep failing, and then until one day you're going to be so
Exactly.
good. You
And
just get.
you have to
you
realize-
learn some perfect nini.
Yes, and you have to be very positive with life, because if I look at the interviews that I did before this one, for the other jobs that I was also applying for, the ones that I failed, like the 3 interviews that I failed before, and none of them can compare to the amount of the better opportunities that I got from the one that I passed. So it's like God was setting for me a stepping stone.
yeah,
Like He was
a
like, this is not where you're
milestone.
supposed to be. So I do this interview, I failed. I go for a better interview for a better paying job, I fail again. I go to another one that is better paying, I fail it. And I did not lose my
And
confidence.
finally you landed.
And I
your
went for an
grades.
interview that was paying me like 3 times my first interview. So you can imagine, if I was so afraid of failing that interview and I stuck with that failure, could I have gotten the confidence to be where I am right now? So all I can advise you is just realize that some doors close so that others can open. And as much as painful as they can be, just always realize that there's always a better opportunity for you.
And without fear, just go for that interview. You
And
don't
go for
worry.
it.
Yeah, there's that nini I posted on my Instagram. Yeah, like confidence is not the absence of fear; it's the mastery of it. So you master that confidence, you master that fear, and change it into confidence.
Yes.
You get
Yes.
yeah. So you don't be nini. Because for me, right now, I feel like if I went for another interview, I'll be very much better.
Exactly.
Like that was a great experience for
And
me.
I-
I also got to
yeah.
know like what goes on an interview. Like if it's not, by the way, I just do my businesses, nini.
You're
my
used
jobs,
to
I
being
get
self-employed.
jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like,
And
whoa.
interviewing people.
And I'm used to interviewing people. I'm always the
Exactly.
one on the other seat. It's
Now
so
you
funny.
experience.
So that's how people feel when I'm interviewing them. Eh?
Exactly.
Oh God.
So now you know how to
What?
interview people yourself. You know how it feels to be on that hot seat.
Yeah.
But anyway, to
I
make
was
it
on
short,
the hot seat.
interviews, all the best if you're going to do your
Yeah, get
interview
those
tomorrow.
jobs. Go
Whether
for
you
those
get- when you
interviews.
get
Fail,
it-
go for another one.
When you get it, be grateful. When you don't, there's always a better
You'll
opportunity
finally land
out
the
there.
job. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very
So
much.
otherwise, subscribe, share this link to your friends and family. Let them join the family.
Yes.
Okay, be our family, our Solid Fluid family, and comment down below. Share the link. Yes. Follow us on Instagram on Solid Fluid Podcast. My personal page is Naomi Aimbugi.
And I'm Santana_Gichobi.
Yes.
Yes.
Otherwise, we love you.
Till next time.
Yeah. Take what you need, leave what you don't need. Bye bye.
Bye bye.